And I'll let them know that broken. Good. So let's try the phone and see what we get out of that. And what we can do here. And if you could let me know that you are back with me. This is a real shame, isn't it? So this is just unfortunate when it comes to technology. It's a shame. So, oh, Natasha Lee, hi, Madeline, and you did stay. Yeah, Jody Marie, trying to swing between the two things, and for whatever reason it's gone off again on the main screen, so now I'm having to be here on the phone, but at least for the moment that's working. Thank you all. Hi Samantha love, thank you all very much for hanging in there. If you missed me explaining, it's because we've had really bad cyclones over here, in fact 3 that collided and have created absolute havoc, and they're still sort of hanging around, so we've got a lot of interference. We've got a lot of thousands of homes that are still out of without power, and all sorts of issues going on. Crisp picture, nice. Ray Louise, now Ray Louise, you've got to spill the beans now. You teased me with your comment, so now you've got to tell me about it and why I would be so interested. So for those people who are new to my live, I thank you for being here, and I hope that you enjoy the fun that we have. I do not delve straight into giving messages. I wait for Spirit to decide what it is that they want to bring to you this evening. I am a seer, a natural born seer and healer. In fact, on the weekend, I was, very much so. I am, but my family are in the thick of where the cyclone has done a terrific amount of damage. Well, second area actually. So making sure that they're safe. Thank you for your consideration. So on the weekend, I was in a wheat belt area of Western Australia, and there was a fantastic spiritual fair out in Merredin is the name of the town. Now this wants to be an idiot. So I was out in Merredin in the wheat belt, and the place where the fair was held was built in 1829. And it's a beautiful old theatre. Well, the lady that was the original proprietor of the theatre, she is still there. And she loves everyone to say hello, and she loved to make herself known. So it was lovely to be there. And then, thank you, Kelly. I'm excited to have you here as well. And then the pub, when we finished at the spiritual fair, which was absolutely fantastic, I had the thrill to be with other authentic healers, beautiful healers in the room that I was in, and other beautiful people out in the main area. Our resident ghost didn't come through to the room we were in. Did you know that? Did you know that when a place is haunted, the ghost will only stay in the area that they knew of, that they know of, right? Oh, thank you, Ray Louise. That's really nice. That's lovely. Thank you. Thank you. Greetings, Alwyn. Greetings to you. So yes, if you're in a place where it's haunted, but there has been add-ons, so new areas to those places, then the ghosts don't actually, or the spirit don't actually normally come into those new parts of the building. So I don't know what's going on. So she stayed in the central part of where she was used to being, and she kept asking one of the ladies to play Showtime. So Showtime was obviously her tune and her time of being up on the stage in the theatre. It was absolutely beautiful. And then when we finished, why is it that they don't go into the new part, Ray Louise? Because it's not familiar to them. So for example, the room that we were in, which is called the Trivoli room, in her day, that would have actually been the yard or perhaps even another building, a separate building. So it's not known. It's not somewhere that spirit goes, and it's not the area they live in. You wait till I get to the pub. So that's why they don't go into other areas usually and track across. Justine, hello. Thank you for being here this evening. So that was the theatre part. Now, one of the ladies that came to me for healing, because I was there as my healing capacity for the event, and when I finished, as I do, I was telling her what I had seen. And I had seen that her bladder, the top of her bladder, had lots of little tiny bits of calcification, lots and lots of calcification. And the top part of her bladder, the wall of it, was too thick. It was thickening. And also that all around her ovaries and area, yeah, Michael, with you. We'll go there in a minute. That the area around her ovaries was all inflamed, as was the pelvic basin. And when I was explaining this to her, she smiled. And I thought, oh, that's a beautiful smile. And when I finished, she said, I had an ultrasound last week, and what you just said then is exactly what the doctor said to me. And she went on to say, while you were doing your work on me, on you, Michael, I'm loving you already, my shout second. She said that while I was doing the healing on her, she felt as if things were being pulled out of her around all of that bladder and ovary area. And I said, that's because it has been. It has been removed, and all of that inflammation and those calcified bits, if you go back and have another ultrasound, the doctor will be saying, where's it all gone? Because it's gone. Hello, Tina Marie, and welcome. So that is how I work. I'm gifted to be able to see into the physical body and into all your energy fields and see illness, whether it has already come into the physical or if it is on its way. So it's an absolutely incredible honor, and I just love my work and what I can see, and I've seen the most fascinating things. I read for a lady today. Now you will find on the page, on the information, you will find links where you can find out more about my work. You will find links where you can join my community. You'll also find links where you can book a healing or a guidance session. So the lady that I was, good morning, Brenda, lovely to have you back. A lady that I was reading for today, she asked about her mother-in-law. Now, I don't like people asking questions, but we'd come to the end of her session and she said, I'd just like to ask about my mother-in-law. And I said, no more, don't ask me anything else. So, yes, Jody Marie, I most definitely do healing for children and give you the guidance on how you can, go into helping that healing as well. Thank you, Justine. I'm simply the conduit, but it's just amazing. So for this lady this afternoon with her mother-in-law, she was saying, the mother-in-law was showing me that she had lots of problems in her abdomen. So I went in and had a look, and I said to the recipient, your mother did not have Alzheimer's. And she just looked at me and she said, but she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And I said, it's not what it was. So listen up, people. What this lady had was a really malfunctioning pancreas, and she had a deficiency of insulin that does not make her what the medical world call diabetic. And as soon as I said to this lady that she had a really poor functioning pancreas and she had a deficiency of insulin, she goes, oh, she was never diagnosed as diabetic. And I said, Paul, if you let me finish, I'll explain that they would never be able to see her as diabetic. What she had was this extreme deficiency in insulin because of her overeating of sugar, and it caused tremendous heat in her pancreas and in her liver, and that in turn caused a lot of issues for her cognitive thinking, her cognitive abilities, and her ability to stay on track with her thoughts. And this lady was just like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. So this lady did not die of Alzheimer's, and she didn't have Alzheimer's. She had a really, really sick pancreas and liver, and her poor body was saturated in sugar and overload in sugar that it could not manage to function properly, and with the insulin deficiency caused tremendous mental capacity. So these are some of the ways that I work and what I can see. And, you know, had I been able to see that lady before she became so ill and passed, we would have been able to turn that around. How many of you believe that healing can take place in any circumstances? How many of you believe that you can only go to a doctor for healing? Or how many of you go to healers and then you go to a doctor? You know, it's a real crisscross path with that. So when I do healing, as I said for the lady in Meriden who said she could feel things being removed from her, and another gentleman that I have come for healing because he had several surgeries on his ankle and it just wasn't getting any better. And when I'd finished one of the sessions with him, he said, I don't know what you were doing down there, but it felt like you were pulling rods out of my feet, both feet. So healing, when you have an authentic healer, when you have someone who really is a born healer and they can see in, then you are going to find that they will do amazing things, and you'll feel that in your body and see the results, unless of course you're not ready to heal. And this is the thing about healing. If you're not ready to heal, if you're not ready to let go of what has caused that disturbance in your body, nothing and no one. I can remove stuff from you, I can get rid of cancerous growths, and yes, I can afford to say that because I've done it. You know, I can turn your health around, but you know what? If you're not ready for that, you will actually bring it back. Now, you know, there's that medical medium that says this is dreadful to say that people create their sickness. Well, that's bullshit, because it's actually a fact. Whatever you generate in your energy is what you're going to create. You are a co-creator of your reality. So anyone that comes on here and you're wanting messages and you're wanting healing, I'm going to ask you first to really think about where you're at in yourself. Is this dinkum, you know? Do you really want that healing? Do you really want that guidance? So I want to tell you about the pub. Ray Louise, are you still here? And Michael, we're going to the pub. Hi, Mel. So when we finished at the fair on Sunday, the awesome fair in Meriden, I was starving, hungry and thirsty. I had worked flat out all day. Well, being a little country town, cool, being a little country town, you're out. Okay, Grace, thanks. Being a little country town, there was nothing open, nothing except the pub, of course. But when I walked up to the pub, it was all in darkness. And I'm like, oh, you can't be serious. You can't be serious. Yes, Paula, that's right. It is a mind, body, and spirit connection. But all the trouble starts here, nowhere else. So, and put what I want. Tina, that's a great comment. I've tried hard to keep thinking positive. It's not about positive thinking, sweetheart. The positive thinking, chuck that in the bin. It goes far beyond positive thinking, okay? So, but keep working on how you think, Tina. Keep thinking on how you are thinking and what kind of thoughts do you have that are running behind those positive thoughts. Because for everyone who tries to think positive, and I have to emphasize tries, because as soon as you say, I'm going to go into positive thinking, you have a little friend back here in the back of your head that goes, yeah, right. Sure you are. You don't really believe that. And it spins all sorts of BS to you. So positive thinking is not what's needed, right? It's the same as if you want to win lotto. If you believe that, I'm positive, I've got a ticket, I'm positive, bullshit. Whatever's running in the background that's going, I'm never going to win lotto. And other little stories about I've never got enough money. You're never going to win lotto, right? So, yeah, that's exactly right, Diane. It starts all with your thoughts. So in the pub we go. And, well, I pushed the door because everything looked like it was closed. And I pushed the door and it went open. And it was a really old pub. Remember, the theatre was built in 1829. So the pub is, around the same time. So, so I go in, but it's all in darkness. And I said, hi, are you open? And the guy reaches up and puts the lights on. He goes, yeah, hun, yeah, we're open, come in. And there was some young fellas in there that, I don't know if they were old enough to be in there. Maybe that's why the lights were off. Anyway, I was in the, just the saloon bar area. It was pretty dingy, but the bartender was really welcoming and like, wow, what are you doing here? Great question. Thank you, Paula. I will come back to that, and please remind me if I don't. How do you turn your thoughts around? Love it, Paula. Love it. I'll just make a little note. How do you turn your thoughts? God, I hope I can read that later. Paula, you'll have to remind me. So I'm in there. And then the lady who is the publican's wife, so the two of them have got the lease, she comes down from having her rest and we get talking, and she straight away, she looks at me and goes, are you clairvoyant? And I thought, well, that's interesting straight off the bat. No one had been talking about that or anything. And I said, oh, well, you could call me that, yeah, among other things. Yeah, me too, Kelly. It just rocks, doesn't it? Oh, Ray Louise. Now, you're going to confuse everyone. They're like, oh, how do you connect to your heart? How easy is it to connect to your heart, Ray Louise? So she starts telling me about the lady that used to work there in their kitchen, and she would say she couldn't go up the stairs. Anyway, comes this day, they're going to be doing stuff in the kitchen, and she said she backed away, and she looked really frightened. And the publican said to her, what's the matter? And she goes, well, that woman doesn't really want me here. And the publican's like, what woman? And she goes, the one standing behind you. She goes, well, what does she look like? And ask her name. And she said, oh, she doesn't say her name, but she described her. And the lady was in really early 1800s dress, in the way that they dressed then, and had a really stern face. So go Ray Louise. You get a God stamp, an elephant stamp tonight. So the publican found some photos, original photos that were sort of tucked away, and she said to this lady, can you see that person in the photos? And she goes, oh yeah, there she is there. But there was no name for her. When that lady went home that night, she said she was trying to go to sleep, and she kept getting Beatrice, Beatrice. And this just went on and on to her. And she went, okay, so I figure your name's Beatrice. And when she came back to work the next day, she told the publican that's what had happened. So they went hunting to find out, and sure enough, the lady's name was Beatrice. So that's one of them. But then on the stairs appeared a chambermaid on a mission. And she was the head chambermaid back in the day. Now, what in the world those two ladies are still doing at that pub, 200 years on, is ridiculous. But I thought, I am not going anywhere near them today. I've been healing all day. I'm in my own time now. I might come back. I bet it did, Ray Louise. I'll come back another time and maybe see to them, until the lady told me that one day the employee was looking for her and was going up the stairs and shouting out with lots of effins, effins. I think that's flamin', isn't it? Flamin'. And she was going up the stairs calling out this lady's name with lots of effins, and all of a sudden she felt pressure on her face and a big stinging sensation on her face. She was on the stairs, no one else. So of course she put her hand to where it was stinging, and this pressure she felt, and when she took her hand away there was blood. And when she went up and found the publican, she said to her, "What in the world did you do to your face?" And she said, "Well, I've got no idea. I was coming up the stairs shouting out for you, and I just felt this pressure and a stinging sensation, and it's bleeding." And then they figured out that back in the day, that was totally inappropriate behaviour. And this leading chambermaid, she was boss, and she was actually lashing out at this current day employee for being so disrespectful to her employer and to the publican. Now I went, oh, I don't think I want to meet her, because for a ghost to have that much power and be able to lash through between the veils of the world and cause physical impact on a living person, that's one extremely powerful ghost. And you would not want to play with her. And this is what I find a lot of people doing these days, is wanting to play with ghosts, with the dead, with, you know, people that haven't gone to rest properly, and it's just not the thing to do. So for people that want to go off and become psychic, please don't do that unless you're already gifted, or you're going to have someone who is really responsible in what they do with you and how they open you up to connect with the dead, because the dead know more about you than you will know about them. That's why they can scare the living crap out of you without you realizing. So it's not something to play with. And the fact that she's able to inflict that on someone is really quite a concern. She's obviously very protective. So Grace Lorato, hello. Yeah. Me too, Michael, me too. Oh man, you do not want to see me on spirits. I tell you what, that's a whole different party game, people. Yeah, that's bad news. Let's all the defenses down. So this is, so I want to learn the gift. You don't actually choose to have a gift or to be gifted. This is misleading by a lot of medium people who say they're mediums and psychics and things. You don't choose. The divine spirit, your soul, is what drives abilities to be used. Every one of you have got your own ability of intuition, and that is for your own life. So if you are gifted, you've already had connection with spirit and you've done that since little, then, you know, that's something that you can find out whether you're supposed to expand that and whether you're meant to expand that for humanity, or whether it is just for yourself. The other thing about the pub, Michael, was that that lady's husband, the kitchen hand's husband, he went to go upstairs one day to get the sound system. He'd been asked by the publican to go up there because he was the only one apparently strong enough to carry it. But when he got only 4 or 5 stairs up, he couldn't go any further. He said, I just can't. It's like something is blocking me. It's as if there's a wall there. And then he remembered what happened to his wife. So he said, listen, I've been asked to come upstairs and pick up the sound system, and I've been asked by Jen and Peter to come and get it. And all of a sudden he was able to walk up the stairs. Coming back down the stairs, the sound system was cumbersome and heavy, and he got a few stairs down, and all of a sudden it felt like he was carrying a feather. And then when he got to the second last stairs, it was like, whoop, and he nearly dropped it all because it had its weight back again. So those spirits actually helped him to where they wanted to, helped him carry that sound system down the stairs. So my visit to Merredin was more than just the fantastic psychic fair. I got to hear all about these brilliant spirits that are still in the town, and there's probably a whole lot more of them. I had many encounters with spirit, and when I was 13, we came on a school tour to the city, and I was not really aware of how people, and especially kids, were not receptive to someone like me in those days. And we were coming along towards the Fremantle Museum, and I could see a lady in period costume standing in the windows. And I said to my school friends I say loosely, oh look, there's a ghost in the window, and they all made fun of me and called me names and things. So I didn't say anything more, and I learned very quickly not to say about what I could see because I was so ostracized and I'd had enough of that from the start of my school days. So I kept quiet, but I was able to connect with that lady when we went into the museum, and it was amazing. The same as I talk to animals, I can connect with animals and hear what they have to say about the way that they are being cared for or not. And when they're sick, I can see into an animal the same that I can a human being or a people. Yeah, there's a difference. I can see into them and see what's going on. So it's such a privilege and an honour. So let's have a look at some of you tonight. Now then, who asked me, how do you turn your thoughts around? Paula or Tina? Was it you, Tina? Yes, Sharon, it is a blessing, and it's something that I have tremendous respect for. I'm very privileged to be able to be the conduit, and I don't take it lightly. Strong spirit presence in place like a house. Oh, funny, Ray Louise. What's the dead giveaway? Well, if they don't like you being in the house, then they will make you very cold, and it's a most unpleasant cold. If they're strong enough, they can turn on and off TVs, and I knew of one in a hairdressing salon in Wembley who used to put a record on. Yeah, not a CD, not an MP3, but an actual record, and he would play this same awful song about dying, and he would play it when the girls were packing up, when they were opening up, and in the middle, any time that he felt like it, and scared the crap out of the hairdressers and their poor customers. So if it is a really strong spirit and they are not happy, if they don't like you, then they will make it very unpleasant for you. If it's now, this is something I want you all to know too. If you have a loved one come to visit you, they will never scare you. They will never scare you. They will never make you feel cold, feel uncomfortable. A loved one brings love when they want to connect with you, unless you've pissed them off. I mean, if you're in trouble with them, it might be a different story. But when a loved one comes to you, they are answering your call because you're really missing them. So they always bring their loving energy. You know, people come to me and say that, you know, they've got a ghost or they've got a spirit in their house and it must be their grandfather or whatever, but then they go on to tell me how unpleasant it is. That's never a relative, okay? So happy spirits are exactly that, Ray Louise. They make you feel good. They will play with you. They might entertain themselves with you, and they make you feel good. Like the young man that I have talked about before, but there's a lot of you here that are new to me, and I to you. and he had had a motorbike accident and died, and he didn't know where to go. He was standing in the morgue looking at his body, and he didn't know what on earth to do with himself. He literally stuck his head through the morgue wall as a green lady or domestic at the hospital walked past, and he loved her energy, so he bumped out and hung around with her until she was having a reading with me, and he asked me to put him back in his body. I said, well, it's a bit late now and can't really do that. And he didn't know what to do with himself. And he was a very happy, a very loving young man. He just didn't know where to go. And you know why? Because he didn't have any faith. He didn't have any beliefs. He didn't have any hope. So he didn't know what to do with himself. And that's something that I see a lot these days. And particularly the last 20 years, it's gotten worse and worse with people not having faith, belief, trust, and hope. And without those things, life's just shit, in a word, right? It's you'll find that you can't get over sickness and illness, you can't heal properly, you'll always be in a place of lack, not having enough of anything. Let's go to the pub, Michael, get into those spirits and see what we can find. So it's really important for you to understand where you come from in your heart, what it is that you believe in, and what it is that you'll accept. This plays a big part in how your life will unfold. So to the question, how do you turn your thoughts around? There's a lot involved in that, and it actually takes practices and tools for you to become aware of what your thoughts are, how you sit with your thoughts, how you generate your thoughts, and why you have those kind of thoughts. So first you've got to be in a place of awareness about your thoughts, how you talk about yourself. Go to the pantry in the that's got to be the best excuse for going to the pantry in the fridge, aside from COVID made me do it, that I've heard, Ray Louise. Playing those poor spirits. So now you've distracted me, Ray Louise. So turning your thoughts around, you need to be aware first of where your thoughts are being generated from, and they will come from false beliefs about yourself, and those false beliefs begin in childhood and then they carry on through schooling years, peers, how you've gotten on with your peers, what kind of things took place for you in your schooling years. So if you say things to yourself like, oh, I'm such a dumb klutz, or I'm so clumsy, oh, shit always happens to me, you can bet that it happened to me, things like that you've got to stop. Just got to stop. So you've got to become aware. Yes, Paula? Yep, absolutely, love. So to be able to shift those thoughts needs for you to be able to come into a place of complete acceptance that you are worth loving, you are a worthy soul and a beautiful soul. And if there's one thing I want you all to know, you are perfect in the eyes of the Creator. You are perfect. You were not created to suffer. You were not created imperfect. So anytime that you feel a sense of not being worthy, of not being loved enough, can't find love, I want you to stop and accept that you are perfect, and everything that is right for you will come to you if you allow it. So your thoughts can actually prevent things that are wonderful from coming to you, and most often it's because you don't accept that you are worthy of receiving wonderful love, that you're worthy of receiving abundance. And when I say abundance, it could be abundance in health, it could be abundance in happiness, it could be abundance in money, but money will not make you happy. Yes, money can make life different for sure, but it is not going to heal you, right? If you've got anything wrong with you and you think, oh my God, I need $500,000 to go to the States and have this treatment, like I said earlier, if you're not really ready to heal, that's a waste of $500,000, right? So coming to what is right for you is going to come from how you think about yourself, and turning those thoughts around is not easy. It takes practice, and it takes daily practices to be able to do. Diane Sin's got a great question. How important is it to protect yourself doing your healings on your clients so you don't take on their stuff? I never take on their stuff, Diane. Lots of other people I know that delve into this do. See what ladybugs from Spirit. Oh, beautiful. You're welcome, Sonny. Yes. Whenever you're going to be, well, let's have a look at this from an everyday point of view. Any time that you are among other people, and if your energy is not grounded and you don't have an awareness of yourself, you're going to be impacted by those people's energy. And I know some of you are already aware of this, but for those of you who are new to me, I have got articles in the Rebirth magazine on the Spiritual Events Directory about energy. So if you want to understand energy more and be able to help yourself in your life, I would invite you to go and read those articles. So the fact is that every time you are around people, and the funny thing is, every time you are within 1.5 meters, does that sound familiar? 1.5 meters of someone, you are actually now in each other's energy fields, right? And no freaking virus can just jump from there to there. So anytime that you are in someone else's energy field, you are at mercy of whatever they're carrying in their energy field. So it doesn't matter whether you are doing healings or readings, and my God, if you're doing healings and readings and you don't understand energy and don't understand how to protect yourself, then you need to go and become an accountant or change your job, because these are fundamentals on doing healings and readings, right? So anytime that you are around people, you are putting yourself at risk of whatever is in their field, whatever crap they're carrying around, right? So if you are a healer, a reader, and you don't know how to protect yourself, then shut up shop and go away and learn more about what you're doing, is what I'm going to say flat out. You should always know how to work your energy, how to protect your energy. Ladybugs are about happiness. Ladybugs are about beauty and about freedom. So they're also about transitioning, because dear little ladybugs don't live very long. So they transition very quickly from beauty to death. So beauty to finishing. So ladybugs are a really beautiful messenger. Yeah, they are gorgeous. Is it possible I'm hearing spirit instead of ego's chatter? Another great question. Thank you, Michael. Ego's chatter is loud. Ego's chatter is what we might call a little bit more insistent and forceful. Spirit's chatter tends to be a little bit nonsensical, meaning that you'll be like, huh, what? What's that about? And it won't seem to fit with your life or anything that you're doing. And spirit chatter is generally quieter. The ego is loud and has a lot to say. Spirit don't have a lot to say. They don't sit and waffle on, right? They're very to the point most often, and they just show what it is that they want to be seen, or if they are talking because they know they can be heard, they don't sit and talk like I have been tonight. They will give short sentences. They will often only use a few words unless there is something really important that they want known. Like the man that made it sound like the whole bloody pot cupboard had been thrown all over the floor. And when he came out and I said, well, was that you? And he goes, oh, don't tell me, you can bloody well see me. And I said, yeah, I can see you. And he goes, oh, really? What am I wearing? And he was really cranky. Oh, Sonny, that's gorgeous. So he was really annoyed that his sons were not honouring his will, and so he had been banging around in the house and creating absolute havoc with crashing things around. and yet you go and look and all the pots were hanging up where they were supposed to be, but he would make it sound like he'd thrown them on the floor. So he did have a lot to say to me, and he instructed me on what he wanted me to say to them. But most often Spirit don't speak in big long dialogues, right? It's and they're quieter, as I say, and unless they're cranky. If they're cranky, it's a whole different story. Sound practical. Thank you, Sharon. There's no fluff with me, and I just believe in very directness, because this is really important stuff. And, you know, we have so much goes on around us in the unseen world, and we have so much that goes on around us in the tangible world, and we can get very lost and very caught up in it, and we can feel very lost, which causes us to come off track in our own life. And that's, you know, that's when there's no fun anywhere, okay? So for Trish Leigh Marie O'Loughlin, your natural father, I'm sorry, Trish, but there is a block there. He is not really that keen on being found, and he has very good reason for that. You will find out about him later on in your life. Your thoughts, or do you need to speak out loud? No, Michael. All thoughts, everyone. Great question from Michael. Can Spirit hear your thoughts, or do you need to speak out loud to communicate? Everything in the universe hears your thoughts, including other living people. So when you go to the toilet, you know, when you're out to dinner and you're sitting there thinking, oh my God, I want to go to the toilet, but I don't want to be the first one. I'm busting. I want to go to the toilet. And then you give up because you have to, and everyone else stands up, or half a dozen other women stand up. Oh my God, yeah, I need to go too. And that's because everyone else is picking up on your vibration, picking up on your thoughts. So everything is heard, everything. So yes, you don't have to speak out loud to connect with Spirit. You don't have to speak out loud to connect to a loved one either, in this world or the next. Natasha, number 18 for the house, and it's got a really dicky front part of the veranda, really dicky part of the roof on the veranda, and that's going to be a fabulous house for you, coming your way very soon, love. Don't stress, it's all coming. Oh, Justine, that's, what do you want to do in that energy? Give that a big miss. Cindy, it's going to be a little bit of a laborious task for you, love, but you will find somewhere, and that's not a generic comment. I don't want you living in your car, but it is going to take you a few goes to be able to find a house of. So Cindy, just be persistent, and also don't let people push in front of you, Cindy. You're you know, you'll tend to stand back instead of saying, excuse me, I was first. So you need to really step yourself up. Yes, Paula, you can be a lost soul in both this life and the afterlife. Absolutely. You guys got great, you guys got great questions. Ray Louise, it's no fun. It's no fun in moving. It's the most stressful thing. It's way up there on the Richter scale. It just about throws everything away. Whoa, well, these comments are roaring by. I don't see the end of the tunnel. I'm not quite there yet. Rebecca O'Brien, just you've got another 3 months, and it's not so much about seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. It's more about how you're holding on to what has already happened and generating a concern that more of the same is going to come. Give that a big miss and welcome in the things that you would really like to have come into you. Now, as I said earlier, if what you're sending out doesn't really align to your heart and you don't believe it, it's not going to happen. So, let things go. I think I feel sad, but I guess it's what it is. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Trish. It is, love. And you will actually get to understand when you do get to hear more about him. He actually had some he had some issues with the way that his mind worked, and you'll get to know more about that. It's a bit of a sad story for him, and that's why he didn't really want to be known, but it's okay. Paula, will I ever get better, happy and loved? Better start with yourself, sweetheart. Better start with yourself. Zeta Bush, hello. Mel Tai, as I mentioned earlier, if anyone wants healing on here and anyone wants their health to get a whole lot better, then you better check in with yourself and see where you sit with the idea of being well. Yes, you own that. And if you're relying on doctors and physio and all that stuff, you're never going to get well. In a nutshell, never. So I'm going to take some of their stuff in case you get a safe place. Is moving. So there's stuff in case you get a safe place to move. In case you get a safe place to move, Sonny? Or in case they don't get a safe. That didn't. Not reading that clearly, Sonny. Could you just clarify for me? You wouldn't really want that energy, Sonny. Is you're all beer and Skittles, Raylouise. That's that's really comfortable, and you can actually make so many rooms within a room within a room. Hey, Sharon, how would you explain when you know you have to leave someone in a relationship and you move forward, but the soul energy still feels so connected to the person? Okay, so you can cut psychic cords all you like, but it comes back to, again, what the connection is between you and that person and what is really running behind those front thoughts. You know, the conscious mind is really powerful until you learn to harness it, which is what my Soul Mastery Collective program is about. And understanding where those thoughts are generating from, why you're working with them. So when, you know, I like to say that when a relationship is finished, it's done, it's dusted. Let go. Now, another person can actually still have that connection to you. Another person can still be holding on to you. So you need to muster up as much love and compassion as you can and let it go to that person and see them totally shielded in it, and ask that love come their way, that they can release you. These cords are a two-way street, people, and it's not always as easy as just you cutting yours. Oh, yes, Brenda. Your daughter, Brenda, is actually active in wanting to bring the justice to the person who took her life. So she is around you sometimes, but she is working hard to get that justice done. And the other good news is that when she rests, so when she stops working hard at trying to get the justice done, she is around you with a lot of love, and she tries to reach through to you to say, it's okay, Mum, it's okay. And I know that's really hard to understand, but what she means is for you not to worry so much about her. And I know that is equally difficult to understand, Brenda, but she wants you to know that she is not in any kind of distress, not in any kind of suffering whatsoever. She just wants justice like you do, and she is working on making that happen. It is going to be difficult, it's going to be long, but the findings at the end are not going to be long at all. So it's going to be very quick. So it's like it takes a long time for it to all unfold, long time for all of the truth to be seen, and then bang, it's done and dusted. You'll be very happy with the outcome, as will she. But she does come around you, and she brings a most lovely scent, and I'm going to say that it has got a floralness about it. So it's a softness, and that's also indicative of her. She is so sorry, Brenda, for everything that took place, because she knows that she could have done something else that would have had a different outcome, but that wasn't the way it was going to be. So everything will be all right, and she is all right. Truly, she is. God bless you. Trees, Teresa, hello. Good thing. No, Rebecca, that's not a good thing. That person needs help and needs to shut those voices out. You know, when you're hearing voices, I hear voices. When you're hearing voices, it can really do your head in, and you need to be able to understand what on earth's going on. Trees Teresa for, oh, wow, we're just about done, and there's someone else coming on. Trees Teresa, you've got a nice little windfall coming for you, but not until October this year. Diane Sin, oh, we're on close off time. Does that mean we've got so revert again? See me, so I got revert again. Yeah, Paula, lot there, love. You could book a healing if you wanted to. I'm really sorry, guys. We've come to that time of the night. Look, my links are all there for you if you're really dinkum about wanting the guidance and you really want to explore into some healing and soul work. All the links are there for you on the page. It's Heal with Gwenda or Gwenda Smith, either one, but you'll be able to find me there and come across and have a chat with me there. Thank you all so much for your interaction once again and your fabulous questions and all the fabulous fun as well. It's such a hoot. I just love you all to bits. And for those of you who have got really heavy hearts with the way life is, please remember, you are perfect. You were created perfect. And just this life here, you know, you can change the way that this life runs for you. Paula, for you, it's time for you to start looking deeper into yourself. Okay. Thank you all so much, and thank you for hanging in there with me with these the issues with technology tonight. God bless you all. Much love to you, and I'll see you next week. Take care.